All right, let's try to do Orbone. I am worried. I think this is going to be really difficult, but I have an idea, and we'll get to that idea. It is three battles in quick succession. We'll do three battles today, and no ability to gear up. I mean, you can change your gear, but there's no ability to like get new gear between. And this is not a place that stops up new players too much. Like, it doesn't seem impossible. You do it a few tries and you'll get it. But the thing about it taking a few tries is it often takes a few tries for us more advanced players too, right? Its difficulty is not easily avoided. And so that's a struggle. Simon. Ooh, this looks bad. Please answer me. Apparently not too hard to get in if everyone's already been killed, but not great. Alma, why are you here? What happened? It's dangerous here. Hurry, run. They came for the Holy Stone. Virgo. Holy Stone. Then Alma was right. Holy Stone? The stone's been a royal treasure for generations. When Princess Ovelia came here, they gave it to us as proof of her status. Who are they? Who's trying to get the stone? You're Alma's older brother, Shikuchi, aren't you? Don't get any more involved. You'll be killed. Where's the Holy Stone? Wait, must be here somewhere. Look for it. We can go underground from here. Let's go. I'm a fugitive, branded by the church as a heretic. Is it because of the stone? Please tell me. Who are they? High priest and his sect are trying to regain power. The high priest's name is Funeral, by the way. We've heard him mentioned. First, they're reducing Larg and Goltana's military power by causing infighting. Right? You have the two lions, the two great forces. If they fight each other and, all of them die, that's going to weaken them both a lot. If the war drags on, it not only reduces their power, but trust in the royal family. And we know that from reading the general rumors around. What's the real reason for collecting the stones and reviving the Zodiac Braves? To gain the people's trust, of course. But the Cardinals already joined Lucavi. If it's only the stone's power, it'd be strong enough to replace the military. Funeral wants that power. You're different from your brothers, more like Balbanes. Perhaps you might be able to destroy their ambition. You stay here. I'll go after them. I'll go with you. You can't leave Simon alone. Hide in a safe place. Where? Okay, I will. Alma has good healing powers, though. Hold on to this stone, just in case. So we have two stones, and we just gave both of them to her for safekeeping. If I don't come back, make sure to throw it in Bugrosa Sea, okay? Maybe do that anyway, but I regret I can't help you. I wish I were born a man. Don't be silly. You're the only one I trust. Brother, take care of Simon. Now, most FFs, PS1 RPGs, tend to really mess up gender roles, I think. They tend to really do like, you're a girl, you can't do anything. It's like a regular line in the games. And sometimes, but actually not that often, I'm looking at you, Legend of Dragoon. They have the girl overcome that, but honestly, not that often. And mostly it's just like a kind of, oh, we're all sexist here. This sucks. I can't like the characters near as much now, or if I can still like them. And it's just kind of unpleasant to live in those universes. Final Fantasy does so much better than like almost any other PS1 RPGs you can play, and the other ones that are okay on this front tend to also be Square. It really is a dramatic difference when you play a Square game versus like Legend of Dragoon. FFTactics comes the closest to screwing this up. I see it as more a kind of Ramza making mistakes around Alma than a more broad condemnation of the writers, but you could see it either way. Anyhow, let us continue. I might just be giving it more leniency on this because I like the game so much. All right. Part 1. Troops. This is, I believe, the first time we fight Lancers. This is the simplest of the 3 fights, probably, but not. No one's happy about this fight. I certainly am not. I'm gonna try something for the 3rd fight that I have no idea if it'll work. I think there's good evidence it will, but I can't be sure. So you see 3 Lancers. We see green and gold. You stay here, understand? Yes, sir. 2 Time Mages, 1 Chemist, 3 Lancers. Chemists can be very annoying because they can have Phoenix Downs, and usually do, and reviving is annoying when the enemies do it. Healing is one of those things that everyone who plays a game is like, obviously you have to have healing, and then if the enemy uses healing, you're like, this is so unfair, why are they cheating, right? And I think we all feel this way about enemies that can heal. In general, game design that gives the enemy certain tools feels unfair and unpleasant, even if you have those same tools. And yeah, it should be understood like there's all this stuff about like people being mean about people that like casually play games or aren't good at them. And first of all, the people who talk about a lot about that tend to be really terrible at games themselves, but really like proudly hoarding the like little bit they have figured out. Like mechanics like half circle moves in fighting games are like a huge pain to get used to and hard to do. And I'm like not claiming I'm good at that kind of thing. I'm certainly not. But the people who are really proud of that and demand it never be changed are usually not actually the people that can do it very well. They're the people that can do it a little bit and want to be able to lord that over people that can't. And it's really mean spirited. Like, enjoy games however you want to enjoy them. I enjoy them with specific types of challenges, but not others. I've never played a Dark Souls game, but it is so obvious having watched a bit of them. I have no interest in playing them. They look absolutely horrible as games to me, and the appeal of their difficulty is to me looks like, oh, the mechanics look to my eyes really bad, and the difficulty is getting these bad mechanics to work well. And I know people think they're really smooth and play well, or at least some of them are smooth and play well. They do not look like they would be to me. So to me, it looks like the difficulty is, oh, you're fighting a not well put together game, or a game where the difficulty comes from things that are not difficulties I'm interested in facing, right? Not the kind of challenges I want. Now, for other people, it's a delight. That's fine. That's good. Um, yeah, enjoy games how you want to. How did I get on this subject? What am I talking about? Chemists healing, right? Enemies can heal. Usually annoying. If I was a game designer, I probably wouldn't let enemies heal because I think it just tends to be a net negative. It raises the challenge, but not in a way that raises like the interest of fighting it, right? And if you want to say there's some urgency to finishing enemies off that's created by healing, I think there's probably other ways to create that urgency that don't feel like, oh, I just got the work I did undone and have to redo it. And it has this feeling of dragging on instead of this feeling of urgency, right? And you want it to be a feeling of like making important decisions and doing things that like feel like, yes, I have to finish this now. I have to get that done. I have to rush that target, rather than, oh, I'm gonna still win or I'm gonna still do it, but it's gonna take another 20 turns to do. And, in FFTactics, there are a lot of fights where, like, it's clear you've won and you have to clean up the rest of the fight, and then you're spending some time making sure experience is balanced across characters. The way FFTactics experience works is probably not great. But each action gains experience means it's not going to be evenly distributed. And it's nice when your party is about equal level, and a lot of people, like me, will have some inclination to make sure it stays close, and that's going to lead to duller ends of battles. And you want to minimize the number of ways that happens. And healing is one way that you create that problem. So I think it is a way that certainly makes the game harder in one sense, but it doesn't make it more interesting. Everything that makes a game harder, you want to make the challenge that comes with it should be more interesting. I never did this, but in FF12, one of the super bosses, you can like run in, hit it, leave the arena, and very slowly do a bazillion damage. And that's a way you could beat it. You could beat it at low level, if I'm remembering this right. Again, I've never done it. And that's like, in one sense, hard and that it takes time and maybe you have to be precise as you run in and leave, but it is not interesting. Like, the people who are proud of having done that is because they went through this slog, and if you're going to go through this slog, you better feel pride, because otherwise you're just going to feel like, what the heck was that waste of time, right? But like, it's not good. Like, we don't want that to be the games we're playing. You do that because you love other parts of the game or feel completionist or whatever, not because that's actually interesting. A similar thing happened in FF7 when I was facing Emerald Weapon. I did not get particularly powerful stuff to do so, and it just took forever. And it was a real pain by the end. And, you know, doing it for 30 minutes would have been enough to show mastery, and it took me, 3 hours. This was not needed. I don't feel pride about it. I just feel like, oh, that was a big waste of time. Probably made for a terrible video too. So I can't even be like, yeah, but it made a great video. Nah. All right, let's get back to the game. It's not over yet. Never give them the stone. All right. Lancers. So Lancers have jump. While Lancers are in the air, they are invulnerable. Um, they also have 2 range on their spears. Spears are like sticks, but spears depend on physical attack. Now, this means, in fact, that oracles in general, compared to a lancer's normal attack, will do more damage, because lancers do not have access to gear that ups their physical attack, and oracles have access to gear that ups their magical attack. Now, if you get the really high level spears early that you can get from poaching, that changes. But weirdly, and Lancers have a lot more life. There's reasons Lancers are better physical attackers. But weirdly, if you ignore jump and just use their attack power and just that to compare how they are as attacking troops, Oracles are better at punching the enemy than Lancers are, which I think most people do not know and is weird to most people because it's weird, but is, I think, actually a really neat feature of the game that you have this diversity of builds that you can do stuff like that. I never learned Heaven's Cloud. I have to remember to learn Heaven's Cloud after this fight. I'm going to say it like 12 times during this fight just in the hopes that I remember it, but we have to learn Heaven's Cloud. That's our go-to move at this point. We better learn it. We can probably get the kill here. There's a decent chance they block it. They'll have a shield. Yeah, but 66% to get the kill is worth taking the risk of, rather than like trying to cast re-raise or something. All right, that's a little annoying because I think we do 144 to that enemy, so that brings them over. We can kill them our next hit range. A little bit annoying, but not too bad. Hopefully they attack Ramza here. They probably will. Yeah, 31%. Put your hands in the air because spears can't hurt us. Ooh, no, nope, nope. Okay, we got one of the time mages. One of the least dangerous of their units. And now I'm probably going to hit the dancer. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, keep attacking Ramza. Great work, great work. Genius is over here. Please move somewhere where I can hit a lot of units at once. That might be this square. Thank you, buddy. All right, let's keep Nameless Dancing. First one didn't work out, but that doesn't mean you give up on the whole concept. That's a summon. That's a summon. Because that was only hitting us. Summons are targeted. They're going to cast Ramu. Alright, well, I wanted to move here so that I could hit this guy and these two. But I will be hit by the summon if I do that. Is it worth it to get so much damage in? I think this will dodge the summon. If this actually is still in summon range, I'm going to feel like such an idiot, and it might be. It might be. I forget exactly where they targeted it. I think it is. Oh god, what an idiot I am. I should have gone down and hit the chemist and the time mage too instead. All right. So we can't one-shot this, I don't think. But let's move to where we could. At least we can check the damage. 56% for the kill? Yeah, let's take it. We've gotten so unlucky with Oracle finishing enemies. I mean, obviously missing 150% is not that unlucky, but missing a 50%, and a 63%, and we've missed a bunch before. That's really been where our worst luck has been. Alright, please don't be in range, please. Oh god, I'm such an idiot. Oh man. Ah. Well, we're doing everything we can to make this fight riskier than it should be. Because actually, the Lancers could take out our Oracle at this point. Oh god. Or our Dancer. But, this is horrid. This should not... Alright, slow. It's not the end of the world. Annoying, given that Rams is our damage dealer, but not the end of the world. And his CT is probably fairly full, so we'll still get another turn soon. What are you doing? Jumping. Put your hands in the air. Jumps are still, we block 69% of the time. This does mean the jump will go off before Rams's turn, or they wouldn't have done this. Alright, we'll keep trying for Nameless Dance. Obviously, it has been horrible so far. If everyone wants to waste their turns on Ramza, that's great. Please give us one good Nameless Dance. Doesn't hit the guy in the air. That guy's invulnerable to everything. Horrible. Hands in the air? Nope. Okay. Trouble. Alright, so we gotta revive Ramza. Now, I think this does heal him of slow. So that's actually, there's something in our favor here. We'll try to get it to go off as quickly as possible. Hopefully it goes off before his turn would come, so he gets the first turn after. He is a good heal move now, though we probably want him to do damage first. Yeah. I think the Lancers are the threat. So let's go here and launch another Heaven's Cloud. Sorry, Kutetsu Knife. If we had Heaven's Cloud, we would have killed more of their units by now, because we would have done just that little more damage to get them down. So another big mistake for me to not learn that move. But I think we've recovered. This fight's not so bad. That's a healing summon. You're still confused. So unlucky that the confused one hit us with Ramu. Also, I really should have paid more attention to where it was going to hit. I could have hit 3 enemies, including taking one out. I didn't, and I suffered for it. Will we get a single good Nameless Dance now that the fight is under control? Yeah, probably. This one's going to be great, just to taunt me. Yep. Yep. By far our best Nameless Dance now that it's not needed. Ah, what a jerk. Alright. Boo, Yuna. Alright, we can keep dancing, though. Probably just physically attacking Ramza, and they're healing. That's fine. That won't get it out of Ramza's next attack. And we did end up healing Ramza from slow. Sort of incidentally, but can't complain. That's a healing summon. You can tell because of which it targets and which it doesn't. Alright, I bet we get another good Nameless Dance. Obviously, it only has 3 targets because it can't do anything to the sleeping one. They're guarded, but... Again, better than any one it was at the start. Actually, given that we've stopped this one, may as well slap them with a stick, because that'll have 100% accuracy. I think I'm going to stop dancing here, have Ramza use one more big draw out, and then have our Oracle finish the rest. Just to try to stay somewhat on level. He's only healing 30 at a time, so once our Oracle reaches him, we'll probably be able to kill him. And he's poisoned. Casting slow on their ally. Wonderful work. Confuse is good. Confuse is very good. I like that the FFTAI is smart enough to sometimes attack confused allies. I think that's a good thing. Might actually come over and hit stuff with the Dancer, but who do we want to hit? Let's go for the kill on the healer. All right. It is a shame that I am making worse decisions as the game is getting harder, but this is a likely event to happen, right? Um, the more difficult decisions there are, the worse decisions you're going to make on average. But I am making some foolish mistakes that I think have very little to do with increased difficulty. Nice work. Good job, buddy. All right, can only reach the confused one, so may as well wake him up. All right, we want to make sure they don't get to the crystal, so I'm going to have the dancer block their way and attack them. The reason I'm not attacking from behind is in case this doesn't kill them, which is unreliable because the bags are an unreliable form of damage. I wanted them to have not have a clear path to the crystal, so they couldn't heal. That's healing. Man, that Ramu early. Summoning has been the thing that has come closest to ending our run. Summoning has been the most dangerous thing. And if you conclude from that, summoners might be a good unit to have in our party. You're not wrong. Summoners are a very good unit. They do drop off late game, but that doesn't mean they're not a great unit. I'm going to try to give our Oracle the final kill. I just think on average they're going to be getting the lowest experience. So if they have a lead, right, then everything's hunky dory. And it's just fun hitting things with a stick. All right, fight one down, two to go. Wow, is this Virgo? How beautiful. Underground, let's go. All right, fight number two is against Vormav. If you take out Vormav, the fight ends. So it can be worth rushing Vormav. It's annoying because there's a summoner from your starting position to the left. There's like kind of Lancer Knight Vormav, something like that. Or Vormav's a Lancer. Sorry, not Vormav, Izlude. Izlude Knight. And Izlude's a Lancer. And to your right, there's like an archer sort of, and then a summoner. And so there's a summoner inching towards you, but the assassination target is in the other direction. So if you go for the assassination target, sometimes the summoner just walks up and hits your whole party. And if you go for the summoner first, sort of everyone is between you and the assassination target, and it's hard to rush down the mission. Oh, what was the thing I was going to say a million times? We have to learn an ability. We're going to learn Heaven's Cloud here. And in fact, we're going to learn Kiyomori, Muramasa, and Kikuri Chimoji, because those are the ones we're going to need, and then I won't forget them later. But I like skipping Asura and Bison Boat just so stuff I'm never going to use doesn't show up in my menu. And can we do anything with you? We can. Let's get Brave up first, because if Brave goes up, then nope, that's not it. If Brave goes up, then our other reaction goes off more, and that will be the one we'll want more in the late game. So upping our Brave is more helpful. We can't put on game JP up, that's not from a class that's relevant to us. And so we're going to stay in Dancer until we get a save, and then we're going to move off. I don't care about the other of these abilities. I think these are the big three. And it clearly goes Nameless Dance number 1, Slow Dance number 2, Wisnavis Distant number 3, but occasionally will be the choice. All right, level 2. I'm probably going to try to rush down Izlude. I think that's what we'll do. And I think, sorry, I'm thinking, how's the setup? I think over here is a pathway up that leads over to the enemy. But we can teleport, so you can actually start here, and you'll start here, and you'll start somewhere sort of in between. Yeah, because Ramza can teleport over the barrier and just move past it to head towards Izlude immediately, who is to our left, which from the angle we were just looking at is our right. Because they're facing sort of down. All right. 2 knights, 2 archers, Izlude, and a summoner. I didn't expect you to find us here, but just in time. Heretic Shikuchi, hand us the stone. No, why don't you give me yours? Do as I say, and I'll let you live. Good job, Ramza, turning around the threats we've been receiving for a while. You think you can beat us? Then I'll take it by force. We don't have it, buddy. Maybe we should go for the summoner first. Summoner's so scary. Alright, enemy units are faster than us. They are higher level. They usually have better gear. But often that means they run forward into positions we can now hit them. And if we hit them, we get first hit. Does it matter so much they're faster? And the answer is yeah, it still matters. But it matters less. I'm just worried about the summoners. Summoners have slow speed, and it's still faster than our whole party. So where would be good to move? I want to move, hard to see, I want to move right here, right? That's 2 above Vormav, and that's touching this guy. And we have some odds to get here, like, yeah. And let's see Heaven's Cloud. So what's Heaven's Cloud's base? Let me go find that. God, my notes are a mess. They're from such a long time ago. Okay. Heaven's Cloud 14. So Kutetsu was 12. Heaven's Cloud's 14. The Kikuchi Moji is 18, and is 16, and Muramasa is 18. Muramasa is higher than Kiku, but it is a different hit area, so they both have their uses. So this is 14. If we look at our stats, we have 13 power, so 14 times 13. That is not a number that's in my head, but that should be 182 base damage. And we probably have better than average alignment with Izlude. Nope, 182 to both. But that is delightful because we just need to take out Izlude, and one more hit takes him out. Out of the way a bit. And let's start dancing, of course. What else would we ever do? Let's also move somewhat out of the way. And re-raise? Yeah, cast re-raise on ourselves. It's never been relevant, but good safety cushion. Why do you go against us, Shikuchi? Though you're a Bulve, you don't obey your brothers. Why? Are you working with my brothers, though? It's because I'm a Bulve that I don't obey them. The name shouldn't be used for self-gain, but rather for divine justice. Ramses sort of never gets past names having honor to them, which I don't really believe in. That's okay. I do not believe in. During the war, my father fought and died to save the people from invasion. People can have, meaningfulness, but not the name. But we give names meaning, of course, and then value them, and they start meaning something, and that symbolic meaning affects how people actually act. But okay, we're getting astray. During the war, my father fought and died to save the people from invasion. Bulves must not fight for a defunct royal family, but only for noble rights. I think he means here, I would have not capitalized the word noble. I think it should be noble meaning things that are noble, not like the nobility. And by capitalizing noble, it makes it look more like the nobility. But that's okay. Then, let's fight together. Our goals are the same. Listen well, Shikuchi. The Glabados want a world where all people are equal. So we're very clearly seeing the church is doing this right now. Saint Ajora's ideal world is God's world. You know people don't trust the royal family or nobility. We must do something before Avalis is ruined. You started this war. Was that the will of God? Certain sacrifices must be made for the revolution. And we've seen Delita say something similar too. He sort of said, I'm doing the right thing, but the right thing can't be done with the right methods. You can't do what I'm doing. And that's kind of what's happening here, right? Ramza Shikuchi is not going to agree to this because he can't agree to the wrong methods, right? His character, I think, is in large built around a concept like the ends don't justify the means. Now, I am very consequentialist, meaning I think actions should largely be judged by their outcomes, not whether they were like the right type of action or kind of what Jesus would do or something like that, but rather what did they actually do? What could they have been expected to do? I compare actions to outcomes to determine their value, and that makes me quite different from Ramza. But I will say my version of the ends justify the means is not. I don't conclude from that the ends justify the means. I conclude that means are ends, right? The costs you have to get something, the means there are ends in themselves, and there's a choice of whether really good ends can justify bad ends on the way, but they are both very important. And if you have a good enough end, that does, of course, not mean all means are valid, because a lot of means will be importantly bad enough ends in themselves that it's not worth it. Um, Anyhow, I guess my point here is I think Ramza is a very ends do not justify the means. He will not do means that he thinks are wrong. And when he sees things that are wrong in front of him, he will say no. And Izlude here is a character who, in a sense, does have similar ends, right? When he says we have the same goals, he's not entirely wrong. Ramza has the same goal as a number of characters he will oppose throughout the game because he cannot agree to their journey to those goals. He has to go through a different journey than they do. And I think we also see that with Delita, right? Delita is clearly a more important character than Izlude, but Izlude is an example of the kind of difference we see between Ramza and Delita. And the differences and similarities between Ramza and Delita, I think, are the centerpiece of this game. Decadent royalty and nobles must pay for the people. Now cooperate with us, as Delita did. Right, so this is something Delita could go along with, though Delita may have different purposes, as he is regularly implied. But this is not something Ramza can go along with. Because if Ramza sees a way to use you to get to his goals, or Ramza sees you having the same goals but different means on the way there, he can't be on board. He's a character, like, I think really the ends do not justify the means is the clearest and most straightforward way to explain Rams's character. It's not something so like he's naive and then he starts kind of being a. I think some people would describe him as this sort of blank cipher who just keeps doing the right thing but doesn't have that much agency outside of doing what's right in front of him. But I think if you understand it through the lens I've just given, he's a pretty consistent and interesting character in this mold. And so this is something he's never going to be able to cooperate with. Please don't jump. Or actually, no, he will jump because we will get a turn before it. That's fine, right? Because he'll land, he'll hit Ramza, and then Ramza will get his turn. And if that wasn't the case, he wouldn't have done what he did. He would have not jumped, right? He'll only jump if the AI knows the attack will hit. Right, throw stone. If that moves us, that would be hilarious because then the jump would miss. I didn't see if it did because the camera angle's weird, but that would be very funny to me. Now we need Ramza to have at least 120 HP to survive the jump. So we need him to avoid 1 out of 2 of the jump or the arrow that's going to be shot at him. And he's about 70% to dodge both, so 30% for both to hit is 9% total. Ooh, we frogged the summoner. That's great. Probably not necessary because Rams is going to end the fight if he gets another turn, but just in case would be nice. Put your hands in the air. Once again, Blade Grasp is excellent. Samurai, even before we got Draw Out, which is just this incredible ability, Blade Grasp is super strong. Sounds good when you say for the people, but what you really want is a stronger army than the knights and the evil power to control the people. Evil power? No, the stone is holy. We want to guide people by God's miracle, never evil power. You know the cardinal joined Lucavi, right? If that's not evil power, I don't know what is. What do you mean? You killed the cardinal and took the stone from him, but he died because he was secretly collecting the holy stones for us. All right, Izlude, I think, is not dissembling here. He does not know what the Zodiac Stones consist of. But let's end the fight before they can talk more, because we are primarily here doing a gameplay challenge, even if we're enjoying the story on the way. And you can see Ramza is just going to rack up experience. Damn, I refuse to acknowledge his power. I can't die. I must bring the stone back. Shikuchi, next time I see you will be your last. Remember. And now we have the fight that I'm worried about. These were not the fights I was worried about. It's the last stage. But I have an idea. And it's an idea I've used in a later fight, but not this one. Wait, Izlude. So I'm really excited because this is either going to be, a horrible reset, fiasco where we'll be slowly figuring out the fight, or I will have learned how to make the fight reliable. Incidentally, if you have ideas for how to make any fights reliable that I've clearly gotten into some trouble on, like things like the rubber shoes or whatever, I would love to hear or if you stay in this corner, they don't have good ways to approach things like that. Always love to hear stuff like that. Great to figure out strategies here. And again, if you want to do this challenge, I'm sure we could find, not sure, but it would be nice if we could find 3 people on TTA. I also think if you're doing it for the first time, making it a chapter 1 through 3 challenge, because I did bully a triple triad player who might not want to be mentioned here into trying this challenge, and they reached chapter 4 and then got stuck. We made a rule that if you die at least 10 times on a fight, you can only get hit for 10 deaths on that fight, because it was just getting frustrating that, this fight was really hard. He couldn't beat it. And suddenly the death count was the score was going to get so massive it was stupid. So we set a cutoff at 10 per fight. But chapter 4 did his party in. So you could very much do this as a just like 3 chapter playthrough rather than the full game playthrough if wanting to make it, more comfortable. But I would love it I would really love it if people did a draft and I got to follow along and get messages of, oh, I did this and that was cool, and this character's working great. And I died here, but then I figured out this, and that's how I solved it. The problem solving of this is really fun, and I'm sort of showing a playthrough after I've done a lot of the problem solving, but every party's gonna have different problems to solve. So, all right, so I don't want to go into the battle yet. Here's my goal. Here's my idea. We're going to equip 2 chameleon rogues. And the reason for that is, and this sucks because it lowers our magic attack, but we're going to be fighting someone who has holy sword skills. Now, the main move he has that's a problem is lightning stab, which is lightning. So you'd think he also has stasis sword, which is ice. You'd think we should put on ice or lightning resistance. But the AI in a different fight thinks all of them are holy type when deciding whether to use them, and will not target units that have a chameleon rogue with holy sword moves, even if those moves are not holy sword themselves. So, like in the previous fight against Cardinal Draclau, where we made Yuna the target, we want Yuna to be the target again, because he can hit for this target here can hit for 170 and can just end this fight immediately. And if they hit the right units, we just lose. But I think with Chameleon Rogue, we can make him hit the wrong ones. That's my idea. This is my concept. And if I'm wrong, we're almost certainly going to get a game over here, because Ramza will be in this square. So I'm going to put Pythia here and Yuna here. Now, hopefully, he will target Yuna, and these units will be close enough that they can get the kill quickly, because this is an assassination mission. I'm really hopeful this works, because if this works, my future playthroughs, I will have a strategy. I'm going to leave a note. For myself. But yeah, Don't correct Orbone. Stupid autocorrect. Okay. I really hope this works. No, let go. We're supposed to hide in a safe place. We shouldn't have left her behind. Izlude, leave this to me. You got to get out of here with that girl. So this is our first sighting of Wheatgraph in a while, and he is now working with the church. Interesting. Now, the church, and Izlude particularly, profess to have somewhat similar values to Wheatgraph. So this is not entirely coming out of the blue, because the church is the first organization with power that is not a kind of peasant rebellion that has had anyone professing similar values to what Wheatgraph did. So it makes some sense he would end up with them. You, come on this way. Help me, Brother Shikuchi. Here's Shikuchi. It would be a fatal mistake to underestimate them. Don't let your guard down. So this is an assassination mission specifically targeting Wheatgraph. If the enemies storm around you, this can be tricky. I had a really funny way I beat this as a kid. I don't remember it exactly, but like one of my characters went invisible, and I basically ran around doing nothing and sort of it took forever. I eventually picked everyone off. It took forever. I don't know. That's not how we'll be doing it here. Maluda, finally I can avenge your death. He has 384 life, which is a lot. And he didn't attack. The chameleon robe strategy worked. He doesn't attack if he thinks you'll take holy. Oh, that is such big information. Yeah. I'm going to leave a note for myself. Orbone, Wheatgraph. Why are you freezing up? Okay. Orbone, Wheatgraph, not Sorbone. Stop autocorrecting. Equip chameleon robes. My phone's ringing, but that's almost certainly spam. But I'll stop the video for a sec to go check. Indeed, that was a call from your best friend and mine, Scam Likely. Now, the enemy are all faster than us. They're all higher level than us. But this is okay. Oh, Brave Up went off. That's nice. Yeah, we'll very slowly up our Dancer's Brave. Get some dialogue. Wheatgraph, you're still alive. Been a long time, Shikuchi. Glad to see you again. You've become a dog for the church and have forsaken your ideals. You don't understand how hard it is to fulfill your ideal. Even if your ideal is great, it's just a dream if you can't fulfill it. So how can you fulfill it? You need power. That's the politics of the world. He's not wrong. I can see it clearly now. You can't fulfill your dreams without power. On the other hand, if you become seduced by that power, then the dreams stop mattering. If when power takes, it's so easy for power to take over as the goal, and then everything else becomes lost. And you hear this so often, or is so easily lost. So often in kind of, well, I can't, politicians or people defending politicians saying they can't push for that, then they'd lose position, right? But like, if they can never push for it, the position doesn't matter. Anyhow. And there's times where they're right, where they actually just can't. They have no power to, and the position is useful for other things, but it's got to be useful for something. You say I'm a dirty dog of the church. Go ahead. I don't care. You can despise me, but I'll be laughing at the end. You'll submit to me. That is sort of the goal of power. Okay. We have 4 moves, so 1, 2, 3, 4. We could land right behind him and hit this guy as well. I don't see why we wouldn't want to do that. I suppose this girl, as the case may be. And we'll hit for our strongest. This is not a mission where you actually have to get the kill, you just have to get him low. But as I said, I never have a great sense of where that is. But maybe we should have done this different. Yeah, we're not going to be able to get him down quite low enough. Actually, we have Holy. We can use Holy now. Holy's, there it is. We got him. Let's get out of the way. So we did this without resets. Chameleon robes are great. Leave a Note for myself. Yeah, I didn't know about this. This was my first time doing the strategy, and this will necessarily go off after Holy, so there's no point in doing anything. We could punch our ally for experience, but why bother? Oh, man. We solved a problem. This is a fight I could not beat reliably, right? Like, there's a very good chance I beat it first try. If he like happens to, I separate my units as much as I can at the start. He happens to use lightning stab on the unit I want him to. Sometimes you just win immediately, but sometimes he just runs up, lightning stabs Ramza, or it silences someone who needs to cast a spell. Like you have a wizard and suddenly they're silenced and they can't get the kill, and it's just over. You just lose. You get swamped quickly. Weegraph is so much like 384. That's as much life as Quecklane had back in the end of chapter 2. You know, it's really easy to have a bunch of resets here, and it's really easy to just win it in a single try. And you can play stupidly and win it in a single try, and you can play well and lose a whole bunch of times. But now I have a reliable method. Chameleon robes. No, I won't lose. I'm a member of Zodiac Braves with Ares. I can't lose like this. Ooh. Member of the Zodiac Braves is worrisome. Ah, I'm so pleased. Where are you, Weegraph? It was really fun for the Leonel fight that I messed it up and then we had to recover. But this was also, it's so nice when you have some information and you piece it together. And like I think I'm now going to be able to beat this fight reliably with at least many parties that can output significant damage. We often now can do about 400 damage if given a free turn on a sitting target. Um, Are you okay? Weegraph. He doesn't look okay. I've never seen someone, he's bleeding from the head, he's crawling, and he's leaving a trail of blood. Now, I personally have never seen someone look like that and then gone, are you okay? Because I kind of think the answer is a little bit obvious. But okay, not all dialogue can be perfectly written. Don't worry about me. Just go. Yeah, it definitely looks okay. I'd look at him and be like, yeah, 50-50 whether he's okay or not. Alma, go, Izlude. Sorry, Weegraph. Wait, Izlude. A lot of women get kidnapped in this game. Go ho. Damn, I can't die here. I can't face my dead allies without avenging Maluda. No, I don't want to die. I think that is Ares. Holder of the Holy Stone. We're fast forwarding to make this not take forever. Promise me. What? The stone spoke? Holder of the Holy Stone. Promise me. Your spirit will unite with my flesh to live forever. Is this the stone's secret? Your despair and resentment called me. Now promise. No, Weegraph, don't open that. Help me. And so we get I am Velius, and we will know that name in the future. The devil. Your wish is granted. So we've now basically seen the arc of Weegraph, someone who genuinely did have ideals in a world where his ideals could never come to fruition, who found a path to power essentially through the church. Um, but that path, you know, in the kind of Ramza sense of do the ends justify the means, that's not quite right. It's more, it's not that the ends necessarily don't justify the means there. It's that once you're doing the means, your ends will never be the same, right? And I think that's something often missed by people saying the ends justify the means, where the means you're taking, by doing them, you are different than you were before. The things you achieve are going to be different, and you should expect them to change from the stated goals. And you should never trust you shouldn't trust means to lead to the claimed ends. And that's part of the reason to take means as ends in themselves, is because the means are going to come much quicker. And if someone's saying we have to do this to get to there, you don't know that you're going to get to there. But this thing that we're saying we have to do this, that is going to happen. And that's going to be that's the part that you know is going to happen. And if that's really bad, then it's hard to justify this unknown thing at the end done by someone who's going to be different by the time they get to the possibility of that. And so I think Ramza is someone, it's not, so I think maybe we should think about it, at least in the terms of this story, not as the ends justify the means, and Ramza being someone for whom the ends never justify the means, but the means are corrupting, right? The means corrupt your ends. And so you both have the means and you have this corrupted end at the end of it. Hopefully, this makes some sense. I think it's interesting and important, and I think FFTactics' presentation of a whole variety of different characters, Ramza, Delita, and really to a large extent Weegraph as well. Uh, Weegraph is probably, there's a good chance Weegraph's the third most interesting character in this game. Uh, show that. This is the stone's power. At least he doesn't look as ugly as Draclow did. Weegraph. I always liked, big giant horn stuff. Shikuchi, its power is magnificent. No, not just the power, centuries of knowledge ingrained into my brain. Ha, easy. Save some for later. And the hardest fight at the end of chapter 3, which will be coming soon, is Weegraph and Velius. And that is an incredibly difficult pair of fights. And now that we didn't get a reset here, that is my new pick for where we get our first reset. And I will pick it to be our first resets. I think we won't just get one. Simon, can you hear me? I have a really nice strategy for the roof, though. There's a 3-fight sequence that is all really hard, but the final part I have figured out a way to make pretty reliable. But here, and it's a similar way to how I've made some other fights more reliable. What is this book? Germonik, a disciple of Saint Ajora, wrote it. It had been missing till I found it in the underground library. It explains in detail about the Zodiac Brave story. Please don't try to talk. That's all right. I'm a sinner. I knew of the church's wrongdoing, but said nothing. You can bring them to justice with this book. You can bring Alma back with this book. Simon. Woo. Now I can finally rest. Take care of the rest, Shikuchi. You're just like Balbanes when he was young. Simon. All right. So a few things to happen. One is if we go to Brave Story here, there's various stuff you can look at. Like we can sort of get a record of various things that have happened, like Reunion with Zalbag, and it'll give a little description, and you can press a triangle to reproduce the scene. We can also look at people, like we can learn a little about Shikuchi. I believe there might be some errors in here where you can get slight spoilers that it doesn't update at the right points. I'm not sure. Some games have that, some games don't, where you check certain records of characters in this kind of screen, and you can learn things like so and so died at such and such, and you're like, that character's not dead yet, right? Um, but I don't know if this game has those mistakes. But you can sort of look through all the characters. Let's look at Funeral, for instance, the high priest of the church. As the high priest of the Morand Glabados Church, he masterminded the Lion War, revived the powers of the church, which was lost during the 50-Year War. His ambition is to raise the power of the church higher than that of the king. While urging Prince Larg and Prince Voltana, he is collecting the holy stones as well as trying to capture the hearts of the people. Yeah, I think we basically knew that. Treasure, Germonic Scriptures. Now, if you don't come read this, or do come read this, you learn different information, but this is a record of Saint Ajora written by his disciple Germonic. It was supposed to be a lost book. Let's read it. I picked up the Germonic Scriptures Simon gave me and flipped through the pages. The text was in an ancient holy script with drawings in places. It was damaged and hard to read. I wondered what was written in it. Then, I saw some words in a language I recognized. Somebody had written some notes in the Utoku language. Who could have done it? Simon, probably. But judging from the ink, The older notes were written years ago, but the newer ones were written only days ago. It smudged when I rubbed it. The ink was not yet dry. They were written by the same person. I realized Simon had been slowly translating this book over the years. Tried reading it by referring to his partial notes. It says, this is written by a follower of Saint Ajora, Germonik. Germonic. I'd heard that name before. Must have been in history class. Then it came to me. Germonic was the disciple who betrayed Saint Ajora by selling him to the Eudora Empire. This is very much a Judas Jesus style story, just very obviously based on that. I mean, maybe it isn't. Maybe Japan has some very similar story outside of Christian stuff there, and it's from that. But to my ears, this sounds very much like a Judas Jesus style story. Except that we're being told right now that the Judas version is correct and the Jesus version we've been told is incorrect, which is a really common thing in RPGs, is not just that the church is evil, but like that the religious core of it is falsified. And I tend to like stories of that type, but your mileage may vary. It was amazing. Germonic's book was even still in existence, spelled wrong. Calming myself, I turned the pages. Then I found something more amazing than the historical legacy in my hands. I thought Germonic compiled Saint Ajora's words in his book, but I was wrong. It's a record of Saint Ajora's activities, and not the Saint Ajora we know. A record of Ajora, the human. First off, Saint Ajora is not human. I'm not a true believer in Glabados like Zalbag, but I do believe Saint Ajora was a child of God, sent from heaven to save this troubled world. Rather, I should say, I did believe. Until I read this book. It was the golden age when many airships flew all over the sky. The day Saint Ajora was born in Brevenia of Lazalia, he stood up, walked to the well, and said, calamity will come from this well soon. We must seal it so people don't drink the water. Days later, plague swept over Brevenia. The people who drank the tainted water died. But the only family who believed him didn't get sick and survived. Since then, people called him Miracle Child, Child of God. When Saint Ajora turned 20, he became a savior and was sent to heaven as a member of God. Long before Evalis was united, it was divided into 7 small kingdoms: Zeltenia, Phoboham, Lionel, Linbury, Lazalia, Gallione, Morand. As the kingdoms continued to increase their territories, the wars continued. In the several hundred years of war, an ambitious young king was born in Morand. Though he led an army large enough to cover Evalis, the way to victory was long and hard. Using the secret method from an ancient book, the king tried to summon an evil spirit and use its power. But the evil spirit killed the king and tried to destroy the world. One brave, with 12 followers, collected zodiac stones from all over the world and revived them. They destroyed evil in an instant and succeeded in sending the evils back to Hades. This is how they became saviors. That's the Zodiac Braves legend. Ever since, every time the world is in danger, they appear, save the world, and disappear. When Saint Ajora was alive, similar things occurred. The king of Linbury summoned an evil spirit to take over Evalis. The world once again fell into crisis. Saint Ajora collected 12 holy stones, just like the legend, formed the Zodiac Braves, and killed the evil. And of course, Saint Ajora having 12 disciples. This is very Jesus, right? But heroes are always a nuisance to rulers of a country. The Eudora Empire was afraid of Ajora, who was gaining power, announcing the arrival of God's kingdom. Eudora sent troops against one of his sects. The priests of Farah, the largest sect then, were afraid of Saint Ajora's power. He was caught and executed at Golgorand execution grounds after Germonic told of his whereabouts for money. But Saint Ajora was a child of God, and the priests of Farah were smitten by an angry God. After the execution, the base at Farah, Morand, sunk in by various natural disasters, so it sunk. And this is why, if you remember where I said Morand was on the map, it was an area with water around it. It's because the land around it sunk, at least according to the story. This is how Saint Ajora was sent to heaven as a child of God and became a member of God. And that's all I know, all anyone in Ikoku knows of the myth of Saint Ajora. But the Saint Ajora in the Germonic Scriptures was a totally different person. Ajora was not a child of God, but a human just like us. Incidentally, so weird to have the biggest text dump in the game be entirely optional like this. Very strange decision. On the other hand, it's probably longer than they thought players' concentration was, and it's not super relevant to current events, so maybe it makes sense. An ambitious revolutionary who fought to fulfill his dream. Moreover, he loved peace and was not a hero who risked his life for others. This is what Germonik wrote. A founder of an advanced new religion, Ajora was a threat to the empire. But Ajora had another side to him, other than being a priest. He was a spy who entered enemy territory, agitating and gaining information. Anyhow, Ajora was a threat to the empire. The empire sent Germonik to find proof that Ajora was a spy. Yes, Germonik was also a spy of the empire, watching Ajora's activities. They say Ajora tried to revive the Zodiac Braves. Germonik found some holy stones to prove it. But what does that have to do with reformation? I don't know if young King Linberry really summoned an evil spirit. At least, nothing is written about it in the book. However, it's a fact that Morand met with natural disaster and sunk into the sea at the time of Ajora's death. This is where Simon's notes were most interesting. They appeared to be his personal opinion. Despite rumors of its existence, no one ever saw the Germonic Scriptures. I don't know whether the book tells the truth or fabricates Ajora's great achievements. When I was a heresy examiner for the church, many examiners felt afraid to show the people the book. The high priest probably felt the same because everything the book said was true. After Ajora's death, the church had to unite Saint Ajora with God, making him divine. Right? They had to take a living person who did some good things, some bad, and turn him into, a messiah. To do that, unsuitable facts had to be deleted from history, and Saint Ajora had to become a child of God. They were wise to use the Zodiac Brave story, widely believed in Ikoku. It was easy to make people believe the Zodiac Braves, led by Ajora, killed an imaginary evil spirit. When I read this book, I lost my faith. But I'm not sad, because it inspired me to search for the truth. At the same time, I'm guilty for not bringing it to light, even though I knew the church was lying. Why? Because if I told people about the book, I was afraid they would take the library away from me. This is, of course, Simon speaking. I would have been devastated if the library was taken away from me, because it satisfied my thirst for knowledge. But my curiosity got the best of me. Simon spoke of an imaginary evil, but I sensed a scheme by someone other than the high priest after seeing the berserk power of the holy stones. Someone other than the high priest, you say? That's the Germonic Scriptures, and so that's where we'll stop. Um, there's a scene now, but we've been going an hour. That's a good time to stop. And yeah, our next objective is unclear, but it's going to be up over here. It'll be up over there. And I'll see you next time.